You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken Tech for your ears.
Right now, somewhere in the world, a designer is in a completely heated argument with their computer.
Oh, I guarantee it. Probably yelling at the screen.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they asked an AI to remove a pickle from a picture of a hamburger, and the machine, confidently hands them back a taco covered in mayonnaise.
Right, the classic AI hallucination. It's so frustrating.
It really is. And, the holy grail of the tech industry has always been zero friction.
Yeah.
This promise that you can just push a button or speak a prompt and machine will flawlessly build the perfect app or generate the perfect image. But as we race to automate absolutely everything, we really have to ask, are we actually destroying the quality and, the fundamental usability of the internet?
That is the exact question we're tackling today. We're looking at a massive stack of tech and design newsletters from early June 2026. And that tension, it is bleeding through every single page.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It really is. So the mission for today's deep dive is to sort of cut through the noise of your feeds and figure out exactly how this explosion of AI capabilities is violently colliding with human creativity and, user experience and the software tools we use every day.
Right.
Because we are looking at massive structural tech layoffs on one hand, but simultaneously seeing data that proves human-made content is vastly outperforming AI in sales.
Which is wild. And, let's address the immediate real-world impact first, because the job market is just shifting beneath our feet right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Look at Wix. They just laid off 1,000 employees.
Wow.
Yeah, which is 20% of their entire workforce.
Sure.
And, to be fair to the context, CEO Avishai Abrahami noted that part of this is a structural cost issue driven by currency exchange rates.
Right.
Because the Israeli shekel has been exceptionally strong against the U.S. dollar recently, meaning their operational expenses are super high while their revenue's in dollars. But, and this is the kicker, he explicitly linked the scale of these cuts to the rapid evolution of AI.
Which is part of a larger, just undeniable trend right now. AI was linked to 50,000 tech job cuts last year.
50,000. That's just staggering.
It really is. Companies are, they're looking at their workflows and seeing AI as a tool that can completely consume the execution phase of a project. Take Adobe Photoshop, for example.
The whole interface is changing.
Exactly. The underlying architecture of how people use that software is totally different now. Instead of spending years mastering layer masks and blending modes and the pen tool, users are just migrating to the prompt box. They're typing plain language descriptions to edit images.
And the market is just absolutely flooded
Yeah.
with these tools, right? Promising instant creation for anyone. You have platforms like TopView.ai, which blends app interfaces directly with real-world video. There's Tinker, which is a mobile app that lets you conjure up videos and 3D models right from your phone.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
And EasyTree, which procedurally generates these complex 3D tree models in seconds. It looks like a miracle of efficiency on the surface.
On
Yeah.
the surface, right.
But when you look at the mechanics of how this actually works in practice, like with that Photoshop prompt box, it often devolves into what industry researchers are calling an iterative negotiation.
Okay, let's unpack this iterative negotiation thing because it is incredibly frustrating for users.
Oh, it really is. It's like ordering food at a totally chaotic drive-thru.
Yes.
You ask for a simple change, and the machine hands you back something you didn't ask for. And it actually degrades the quality each time you try to fix it.
What's fascinating here is that when you prompt an AI to fix a minor detail, it doesn't process the image the way a human brain does.
Right.
It's operating on probability and these, latent space representations. So if it misinterprets your instruction, it introduces bizarre artifacts like an extra finger or maybe the background starts melting.
Yeah, the melting backgrounds are the worst.
Right. And so you prompt it again to fix the artifact. And because it has to reprocess the entire image through its neural network, the overall visual fidelity degrades. With each subsequent edit, the image gets slightly softer, slightly more processed, and just further from your original vision.
It's essentially like playing the game Telephone with an alien that has memorized a dictionary but has never actually visited Earth.
That is a perfect way to put it.
Right. You ask for a simple change, and because it doesn't understand the physical reality of the object it's drawing, it just hallucinates a completely new problem. So you end up spending an hour trying to trick the machine into doing what you could have done manually in 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Which makes me wonder, are companies just blinding themselves with the promise of cost savings? If they're replacing human talent with machines that actively degrade the product during the editing process, surely that shows up in their bottom line.
Well, a new study from Computer World provides a very definitive answer to that. And it's pretty wild. Only 25% of consumers can consciously spot an AI-generated advertisement.
Wait, really? Only 25%?
Yep. However, human-made ads score 14% higher on short-term sales impact and an incredible 17% higher on long-term brand health.
Oh, wow. Meaning that even if you as a consumer don't consciously look at an ad and think, oh, that's AI, your brain is subconsciously registering a lack of authenticity
Exactly.
and your wallet stays closed.
Yeah, the search data reinforces that exact phenomenon too. In search engine optimization, human-written content captures the top Google spot 80% of the time.
80%.
Yeah, AI-generated content hits that top spot only 9% of the time.
That's a massive gap.
It is, and we have to remember how large language models actually work. They are incredibly sophisticated pattern-matching engines. They synthesize what has already been created. They just don't possess the capacity for genuine creative breakthroughs or, the lived experience required to forge a deep emotional connection with a reader.
Right. And because AI is fundamentally better at mimicking the past than innovating for the future, the industry is currently fighting this massive battle to establish guardrails. Platforms are trying to build a baseline of trust so that you actually know what you're looking at. YouTube is a prime example of this right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Starting in May, they're rolling out automatic labels for videos containing photorealistic AI content. And they're finally abandoning the whole honor system, where creators just checked a box if they felt like it.
Yeah, relying on the honor system was entirely ineffective.
Totally.
Now YouTube is utilizing a combination of their own internal detection models and C2PA metadata.
Okay, let's break down C2PA metadata for a second, because it is much more than just like a text tag on a file. It stands for the Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity.
Quite a mouthful.
It really is. But it operates like a cryptographic watermark that's baked into the foundational code of the media file itself. When a camera or a piece of software creates an image, C2PA binds the details of its origin to the pixels using cryptography. Even if someone compresses the image or takes a screenshot or runs it through a filter, that digital chain of custody is incredibly difficult to break.
And YouTube will use those cryptographic signatures to automatically apply prominent labels, either below videos or as overlays. But a really critical detail in their policy is that receiving an AI label will not negatively impact a creator's monetization or their algorithmic reach.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. If I'm scrolling YouTube and a video is served to me by the algorithm, it's fully monetized, has millions of views, does a tiny label in the corner actually change my consumption behavior?
Right.
It kind of feels like slapping a warning label on a fire hose while the water's already blasting you in the face.
This raises an important question about what these companies are actually trying to achieve. The intention behind these labels isn't to turn off the fire hose. I mean, the content is already out there. The goal is transparency.
Right, establishing a baseline.
Exactly. The platforms are trying to maintain the integrity of a digital ecosystem by giving users the context required to evaluate the media. And we see a parallel battle for integrity happening in intellectual property rights, too.
Oh, yeah. Casey Green is a perfect example of that. For context, he is the artist behind the legendary "This is Fine Dog" meme. The cartoon dog drinking coffee in a room completely engulfed in flames.
Oh, yeah. Everyone knows that meme.
Right. Recently, an AI startup called Artisan used his exact character design to promote their new AI assistant, Ava.
They essentially scraped his human-generated cultural cachet to sell a machine.
Exactly. And he called them out publicly, threatened the legal action, and they reached a settlement. Artisan was actually forced to pull their entire ad campaign from major markets like New York and San Francisco.
Wow.
Human creators are actively demanding that their boundaries be respected. And we're even seeing this play out in accessibility. AI is currently being deployed to audit websites for inclusive design, finding contrast issues or like broken screen reader tags that human developers might miss.
which is great. But while AI is highly efficient at scanning code for technical compliance, the consensus among accessibility experts is that it just cannot replace human-centered design.
Right.
And AI has no lived experience of navigating a website with a motor impairment or a visual disability. Relying purely on an automated audit creates a false sense of security. You still need actual human beings from diverse communities testing those interfaces.
And that brings us to a really fascinating pivot. If the data shows that human connection, trust, and authenticity are what actually drives sales and brand health, how do developers build that into the software you use? It all boils down to the mechanics of user experience, or UX. And if we want to look at the absolute gold standard for UX right now, we have to look at Stripe. In 2025, Stripe processed $1.9 trillion.
That number is just crazy.
It's a 34% year-over-year increase.
Yeah, and Stripe's dominance is entirely built on developer-first UX. They treat the engineers who are integrating their payment gateways as their primary demographic.
Yeah.
Our sources outline 4 specific pillars of their design philosophy. First is task-based documentation.
Okay.
Instead of handing a developer a massive alphabetical dictionary of code, they provide contextual guides based on what the developer is actually trying to build in that moment.
That makes so much more sense.
Second is lightning-fast API integration using pre-built flows. Third is a meticulously clean dashboard.
And the fourth pillar is really the most critical one. Incredibly robust error handling. They design their systems so that failures are safe to retry.
Yes.
Because think about what a developer is actually doing when they integrate a payment system. They are constantly calculating risk. If they make a typo in the code for, like, a legacy banking API, the entire checkout page might crash, costing their company thousands of dollars a minute.
Terrifying.
Stripe's architecture isolates those errors. It tells the developer exactly what went wrong and prevents the failure from cascading. They drastically lower the perceived risk of using their product.
But wait, if Stripe is dedicating so much engineering power to making the experience incredibly smooth and frictionless for the developer, aren't they falling into the exact same zero-friction trap we criticized AI for earlier?
See, that is a brilliant distinction to make. The difference is cognitive friction versus operational friction.
Okay, tell me more.
When an AI hallucinates a taco instead of a burger, it's removing your operational control, which creates bad friction. You can't fix it. Stripe removes cognitive friction, the confusion and the fear of breaking things, while giving the developer complete operational control. They provide guardrails, not a steering wheel that drives itself.
That nuance is so crucial as AI begins to alter broader UX patterns. We're seeing a shift away from traditional navigation like drop-down menus and static pages toward intelligent, predictive workflows where the interface kind of anticipates what you want to do next. But the hidden danger in this shift really lives in product discovery.
Yeah, product discovery. It's the foundational process where a team decides if a customer signal is even worth their time. Let's say 10,000 users click a feedback button and ask for a specific feature. Maybe they all want a giant blue help button on the checkout page. An AI pattern matching tool will instantly flag that and say, hey, build a blue button.
Because that's what the data says.
Right, but human judgment is required to look at that data and realize, wait, they don't actually want a blue button. They're asking for help because the checkout flow is fundamentally broken and confusing. If you let the AI drive product discovery, you will flawlessly execute the completely wrong solution.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it leads to companies failing Design 101 by ignoring human psychology entirely. A prime example in the newsletters is the persistence of ghost buttons.
Oh, I hate those.
Right. These are those sleek, transparent buttons with just a thin colored outline. They look highly sophisticated in a design mock-up, but they are notorious conversion killers. They completely lack visual weight and contrast, meaning the human eye simply glides over them without even recognizing them as interactive elements.
It's like designing a beautiful glass door with absolutely no handle. You don't know whether to push or pull. It might look incredibly minimalist, but it completely ignores human instinct and introduces massive perceived risk. You just don't know what will happen when you touch it.
Exactly.
And speaking of ignoring human instinct, look at Apple. They recently overhauled the app icons for their Creator Studio. The new icons are so visually homogeneous and stripped of distinct characteristics that users literally couldn't tell them apart. Apple actually had to publish a user manual just to explain their own icons.
I mean, when a company with the design pedigree of Apple has to issue a manual to explain a tiny square on your screen, it highlights a massive failure in empathy. Confusing icons and ghost buttons introduce the exact kind of bad friction that Stripe spends millions of dollars trying to eliminate.
Spot on.
Whether a team is leveraging predictive AI or standard graphic design, failing to solve the right problem through the lens of human empathy guarantees a failed product.
And this evolution of UX is driving a massive shift in the actual tools professionals use to build the internet. Because developers and designers understand the human judgment is the premium, they're migrating towards software that empowers precision rather than just mindless automation. Like Figma Make, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
They're launching a limited free beta that allows designers to work directly within local production code.
To understand why this is revolutionary, we have to look at the traditional workflow. Historically, a designer draws a picture of a website in Figma, right?
Right.
And then a developer has to translate that picture into code, inevitably losing details in translation. Figma Make introduces visual edits tied directly to Git workflows. And Git is the version control system developers use to track changes in code. Now, a designer can adjust the padding on a button, and that change generates a pull request, a proposed code update that merges directly into the live product. It obliterates the translation gap.
Meanwhile, you have the broader platform wars going on. Canva is aggressively positioning itself as the ultimate all-in-one platform. They've added tools to generate animated human faces, integrated payment gateways, and direct pipelines to Meta and HubSpot for running ad campaigns without ever leaving their ecosystem.
They want to do everything.
They do. But our sources note a massive migration of professional designers moving back to Adobe Express.
Right, because Canva operates kind of like a microwave meal. It is incredibly fast, highly accessible, and perfectly fine for generic needs.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Adobe Express, however, is built to bridge seamlessly with complex, heavy-duty creative cloud environments like Illustrator and Premiere. It operates more like a commercial kitchen prep station. When professionals are doing deep structural work, they don't want the microwave. They want the precise, specialized tools that give them total control.
So what does this all mean? It's like Canva is trying to be the Swiss Army knife that does everything for everyone, while Adobe Express and Figma are acting like highly specialized scalpels for the pros. And the level of control these new tools offer is just staggering. Let's look at typography. Variable fonts have quietly become the industry standard.
Oh, they are everywhere now.
92% browser compatibility, and they're currently used on 40% of the web. Instead of a designer having to load 10 different heavy font files for bold, italic, light, and condensed versions of a typeface, a variable font uses a single open type file. It interpolates the master outlines mathematically, allowing the designer to slide along an axis and select an infinite number of weights and widths without slowing down the website's load time.
And we're seeing parallel leaps in hardware precision, too. Apple is exploring HMO high-mobility oxide OLED screens for the Apple Watch, targeting a 2027 release.
Right, moving away from LTPO.
Exactly. This is a shift away from current LTPO technology.
Cool.
The mechanism here is vital. HMO materials allow for much higher electron mobility. This means the display pixels can hold their state longer without needing to be constantly refreshed by the battery. It drastically reduces power consumption while maintaining incredible visual fidelity.
And that hardware revolution dictates the software aesthetic. Apple is currently building hype for WWDC on June 8th with a glow all-out wallpaper and an Apple Music playlist for iOS 27. When your screens can produce deeper blacks and more vibrant, energy-efficient colors, designers immediately start building interfaces to exploit that hardware.
The sheer volume of hyper-specific tools hitting the market right now reflects this demand for granular control. We are seeing platforms like Letters Made of Letters for complex typography animation.
Oh, that one is cool.
Yeah, and there's a tool called HueGrid that generates over 22 specific gradient modes, simulating physical materials like liquid chrome or particle fields.
My favorite is Grayscaler. It's a tool that gives you exactly 11 mathematically perfect shades of gray.
11.
Yes. And it's not just dividing pixel values by 10. It uses perceptual uniformity, calculating the shades based on how the human eye actually processes light and shadow, ensuring perfect visual balance.
But the most revealing part of this whole tool boom is how these tools are actually being applied. They're not being used to create cold, hyper-perfect digital spaces.
No, not at all.
Brands are actively using these tools to design for warmth and texture. They want to escape the glossy sheen of AI. Kodo recently executed a major rebrand for the Norton Museum, centering the entire identity around the concept of where art meets life. It is highly tactile and community-focused.
Mm-hmm.
The Young Vic Theater replaced its dated, static graffiti branding with a motion-blurred logo that visually communicates the vitality and momentum of youth.
Look at the longevity brand, Omnui. An agency named Velvel built a dot-based design system for them that blends indigenous symbolism with digital architecture.
Mm-hmm.
But the color palette is the real story here.
Yeah.
They selected the ABC favorite font and paired it with colors specifically named subtle yellow and offline black.
Offline black.
Think about that for a second. In 2026, a tech-adjacent longevity brand is literally naming its primary color offline black, romanticizing the act of stepping away from the machine.
Independent artists are leading this exact charge. Tom Chung is an industrial designer who strictly prioritizes material honesty and the physical constraints of production over passing trends. He wants you to see the weld marks. He wants you to understand exactly how the object was made.
Right.
Dee Jusin is creating emotionally raw, high-contrast, black-and-white manga that relies entirely on human expression. And Rajan Endepu is utilizing highly atmospheric digital brushwork that feels distinctly organic. In a landscape where an AI can synthesize a flawless image in 3 seconds, perfection has become a commodity. True authenticity, complete with its textures and imperfections, is the new premium.
We have covered massive ground today. We started by looking at the very real anxiety surrounding AI, like the structural layoffs and the fear of machines just eating our workflows.
Yeah.
But by digging into the mechanics of how these technologies actually operate, a very different narrative emerges. The financial data, the search algorithms, and the UX masterclasses from companies like Stripe all point to the exact same conclusion.
Yeah.
Human creativity and human-centric design are more valuable now than they have ever been.
Absolutely.
The tools are simply evolving to give us finer control over the details.
Which leaves you with a critical concept to consider as you interact with the digital world tomorrow. As AI continues its march toward perfectly automating the execution of tasks, whether that's writing code, generating layouts, or rendering images, the actual labor of building will become functionally free.
Wow.
And if a machine can build absolutely anything instantly, the most highly compensated and sought-after skill of the future won't be technical proficiency.
Right.
The only skills that will truly matter are taste and the deep human empathy required to know what is actually worth building in the first place.
Taste and empathy as the ultimate frontier. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep looking for that human element, the texture, and the intentional friction in the digital products you use every day. Catch you next time.
Spoken Tech, for your ears.